Well, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has warned that the planned nationwide protests could have severe negative effects on the society, reflecting on the 2020 NSAS protest. The IGP warns that the destruction of police infrastructure leads to a breakdown in law and order, leaving communities vulnerable to criminal activities. He urged all Nigerians to cooperate with the police to ensure that any forthcoming protests are peaceful and orderly.
This is the experience that some people also want to happen. People have forgotten that those police stations that were burnt, the rifles, the guns in the armories of those police stations were also looted. And where are those arms now? We were able to recover some, but a lot of them got into the hands of criminals, making the criminals stronger. Who are they going to use those arms on? Innocent citizens of Nigeria. Is that what we want in Nigeria? So from experience, violent protests of such magnitude always lead to violent crimes, because violent crimes will take over immediately after that violent protest. Insecurity is going to take over. We're already battling with so much insecurity, and we want to reinforce that problem. So that is why I will keep appealing that different groups who want to stage a peaceful protest, even peaceful protest, they should shelve it for now.
The National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Felix Morka, joins me now to talk on these things. Good to have you on Newsnight.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Well, from all indication, there seems to be some kind of concern. I'm trying not to use the word fear on the part of government and, security authorities and what have you, about Nigerians expressing themselves, saying, look, we're hungry, we're not happy with the way things are going.
Yes. It's neither fear nor the kind of concern that you might expect. It's really, I think, government that is alive to its responsibility to protect lives and property. When you have a duty that the Constitution has, bestowed on you as government, to ensure that nothing is done to compromise the life or property of citizens.
But the same Constitution guarantees Nigerians the right to...
No, absolutely. When you read the Constitution,
to express themselves,
you don't quite see the tension, right? When the Constitution says everyone has a right to assemble freely, and even to conduct activities that are legitimate. That is constitutionally protected. And I think that I read a lot of commentaries where people suggest that this government is saying that people shouldn't protest, or that they are simply trying to muscle Nigerians not to protest. That is not the concern or the argument. Rather, it is a realization, and I think a concession, that our Constitution guarantees to every citizen that right to assemble freely, in association with others. However, in theory of protests and in the history of protests, I read and listen to analysts come on your show to say even the president himself was a protester, or that he led protests.
Yeah.
That's true. The only reason you know that was because he stood to be counted. He stood right in front of the protest to say, I, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I approve of the purpose of this protest, and we are conducting it within the framework of the Constitution of the Federal Republic. That's the reason people know that, and they reference that. But the question, I think, what also gives the concern that we just heard the IG express, is that no group of persons have stepped forward to say, we, on behalf of Nigerians, or on behalf of any particular group of people, feel so dissatisfied that we feel like we have to invoke our constitutional liberty to actually go out there to say to government, A, B, C require your attention. No one has done that. And I think that that's why this is concerning. Now,
but is it not enough to hear Nigerians say, look, we're hungry, the roads are not, the basic infrastructure
it's not enough.
is not there,
No.
and all of that. Some are even saying that, look, the sponsors, if you're looking for sponsors, it's hunger.
That's P2B speaking. Look, that's absolutely disingenuous.
Are you saying Nigerians are not hungry?
No, see,
they're not
look,
feeling hungry?
that is not,
There's
no one. Is it the president who is in denial about the fact that things are, difficult for our people? There's no one who is in denial. The minister just spoke. He acknowledged. The president acknowledges. I have acknowledged, every time I have had the moment to, speak to this issue, I acknowledge that Nigerians are dealing with, very difficult circumstances. But I think that I must also, tell it as it is, which is that the difficulties we're facing today have been with us for a very long time.
Could it be that the problem is that those speaking for government are not saying it in a soothing way? They're being confrontational and saying, we dare you and all of that. Maybe that's the problem.
No, but
because some are saying, look, the government, the president is not engaging. He's not speaking to Nigerians in a way that will make them even more understanding of the situation.
The president has been speaking, in a very forthright, with a lot of candor. No one has been more, I think, humble in accepting that some of the policies, corrective policies of this administration may have, heightened or increased this, whole thing of difficulty. It didn't create it, but it just may have taken it a notch, higher.
Right.
Because, we in this country, whether anybody wants to deny it or not, we have lived with, difficulties from the time of the military dictatorships until today. That's why we have had a history of, engagement and even the demand that the military must leave so we can have a democratically elected government that will, pander to the interests or the best interests of our people. Look, all I'm saying is that, it's not difficulty. Because if you look at difficulty objectively, there's difficulty everywhere.
Right.
But we are talking about our own difficulty. And you must look at difficulty on the one hand and look at the determined effort of government to address those difficulties.
Yeah, but there seems to be a missing link between what the challenges are and the government's ability to convince Nigerians that, look, we do understand, but these are the determined steps that we're taking to resolve these issues.
There's a difference between working hard to transform a situation and, succeeding in convincing a cynic or someone who is, completely trapped in the pain of the moment to see, the future even beyond 1 hour or beyond a day. They're two different worlds. Doesn't mean the fact that somebody may feel like, hey, it's hopeless, does not mean it's not for lack of effort or commitment or even demonstrable outcomes as this government is showing every day. It's just that, we have come to that point where somebody may decide, listen, it's hard, it's tough. I don't care what is going on. It's not changing right now. Therefore, tomorrow will not come. Tomorrow will come. And I think that, because we need to understand, in our private lives, we, as in citizens, we do not wipe away challenges that have nothing to do with government. Even challenges with family don't disappear because you dictate it. There's a reason, for instance, that if our people were demanding for somebody who is detained to be released from custody, that can be very swift.
One of the demands.
For instance,
Nnamdi Kanu's release, they're asking for
is it
that.
Nama that made the whole effort to impose an 800% payments by airlines, airline operators, which were just reversed, or for that matter, even the NCC. You were discussing with the spokesman of the NCC. Those are easily fixed. They're things you can dictate. But when it comes to economic, determination, they're not things that are liable to this sort of fiat. The president cannot just declare hunger and poverty, out of existence in Nigeria.
Very quickly, I'm being rounded off now, but I need to make this point. I wonder if we can play back that I had this chat with Dejade Oju. I mean, when you say faceless,
yes.
And he made a point. He says this government is trying to induce some people to pull out of the planned protests. Is that happening?
No, it's not. Look, people, again, if he says that, then he's saying that the people themselves don't have any sort of, human agency. That the people he's referring to lack the capacity to decide for themselves how they, think or how they act in relation to the present circumstances. Himself, he's making a decision. Nobody is forcing him to decide, to take the position that he's taken. So why would he second-guess somebody else who is taking a contrary view? People who have said, this is not the time for this, they have their reasons. And I happen to also second that opinion, that I think that this is, completely miscalculated, because this president, who has been in office for, just about a year, has not even had the time. Normally, when you get into office, people give you time, 4-year term. We can't make this sort of, harsh, definitive assessment of a president who is in office, been in office for, just about a year. That would be unfair in some ways.
Okay, it's a good place to leave it. Felix Morka is the National Publicity Secretary of the ruling APC. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It is a continuing conversation.
It is.
Hopefully the messaging will change in a soothing way that will, make Nigerians think again about going on that process.